Welcome to Food Ed, the podcast that explores the vital role food plays in the classroom. Join us as we dive into the latest research, share best practices, and hear from experts in the field. Let's work together to create a school environment where every student can thrive. Let's become food educated together. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Food Ed podcast. I'm Svetlana Elgard, and I'm your host. I'm so excited to have Dr. Walker with us today. And Dr. Walker is a Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources at Capital Union High School. And also she's very much involved with 𝗪𝐸. And I want to welcome you so very much. And I'm so happy to see you again. And I'm excited to talk to you. So say hello to our audience and give us an intro on yourself, please, Dr. Walker.
Well, good. I'm super excited. Good morning, everyone. I feel very honored to have an opportunity to talk about something so critical to the schools that we serve. As an Assistant Super of Human Resources with Capital Union School District, I am very happy to be here. I've been in education for over 30 years and believe I have a little knowledge about food and how it's received and taught at school. So I'm super excited to join you today.
Well, thank you. Thank you so very much. And I want you guys to know that I met Dr. Walker at the 𝗪𝐸 event just about a month ago. And there was a lot of people at that event, but I don't know. I migrated towards Dr. Walker, asked her for her phone number and everything. And this morning I thought, oh my gosh. So here we are. I guess what I want to kind of start with is I wanted to start with how is your school district currently handling health and wellness initiative? Is there a health and wellness initiative in your school as of today?
So it's definitely in our district as of today. One of the things that we decided to do 2 years ago after the pandemic or during the pandemic, we hired counselors for every school site. And we partnered with the organization called 𝗪𝗵𝘁 Unidas, who we provide free counseling to anyone of our parents, students, or staff that are in need. And that's been for the past 2 years. And so the counselors, the 𝗪𝗵𝘁 Unidas, and we also purchased a curriculum that we use that is being taught every day in the classroom for the first 15 to 20 minutes that's tied to social emotional learning.
Okay, so the curriculum, is it in school? So it's taught every morning? Is it what is the curriculum on? What's the subject?
The curriculum talks specifically about different scenarios that children deal with, whether it's regarding bullying, whether it's dealing with a death, a loss in the family, just day-to-day challenges that our children face that may be different than what they faced in the past.
That's very good. That's very good. I haven't heard of that. That's very good. So how do you feel? Do you feel that it is important to define food culture, food education to the children from the early age? How do you think, being an educator and being in the schools for so long, how is the food culture and food education defined to kids today? And is it? And how do you feel about that whole subject?
I don't know if it's defined. I think that food education has evolved over the years. I think that there is definitely a lean towards ensuring that students are getting the nutritional value from the foods that they're eating, and less junk food, as you would say, with laws being passed about sodas being in the schools and having more nutritional drinks available for children, and then the vegetables, the ensuring that vegetables are being provided and that they're on every child's plate, which is not something that has always been the case, but that is something that is moving forward. I know for us, our child nutrition services really pushes in very deeply about food and the nutritional values of food. One of the programs that we started here in Keppel is called our Food Literacy Month, where at every school we provide various fruits, fresh fruits or vegetables. They're delivered each day to the schools, and then they have an opportunity to hear over the PA the food that they're introducing, that fruit or vegetable that's being introduced, is read the educational facts about that fruit or vegetable. And it's read over the intercom, and it shares the proteins and the calories that it contains, what time of the year that the food grows, and where the food is grown. And so having an opportunity to do that and have students asking questions about it while they're in the cafeteria, and the cafeteria team being able to share information, and it actually pushes or engages students in a way, look, I want to try that because, wow, that's grown here. I didn't know that. And, giving them an opportunity to engage in the food just a little bit more. And so, and we found that to be very productive for students. And we see a difference in the food that's being thrown in the trash versus the food that they're eating. And so I think that's really significant.
Yes, absolutely. So, as a school district, you guys are really changing what you guys are serving to the kids and what you guys are showing them that they should be, what you guys are giving them at lunch and snacks and water and all of that. So, you guys are changing it also from the inside of the school at what you guys are serving to the children, which leads me to the next question. I'm sure you are aware. So, you are aware of the diabetes, type 2 diabetes, I want to say, and obesity in our next generation and our children has risen to the point where I think we're in an epidemic, and every sixth child as of today is pre-diabetic or obese by the age of 12. So you're aware of this, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
So what do you think from the standpoint, you being, in the schools for all these years and seeing the school system, the education system, and kind of seeing the overall, picture, what do you think as a community can we do today to offset diabetes and obesity and really to eliminate it in the children? What do you think that we can do better as a community, and how do you think, what do you think would be the best way to attack that problem from schools? Because I think that's where the kids spend a lot of their time in. So that's why I'm kind of asking what your thoughts are.
And so again, I do think it goes back to food literacy and understanding the benefits of certain foods, and talking about diabetes and sharing what causes it, right? Like understanding that when you do these things, that these are some of the consequences, almost like drugs, right? When you tell kids all the pluses and minuses and what drugs do to your body and your mind and all of that, then it alerts them to, back away from doing it. So you have to do the same thing, I believe, with food. You teach them about it. You teach them about the diabetes. You teach them about obesity, and you share the types of food that should be eaten. And providing those foods at the schools. As I said, one of the things is just making sure that we have a variety, that we have a variety of fruits and vegetables on the plates, and that we're leaning more towards less high in carbs and things that are not needed to be successful and thrive in as they're growing up. So I think the education is a big part of it, and opportunities to taste a variety of foods, right? You don't know what you don't really like if you don't have opportunities to try it, right? So giving them opportunities to try a variety of foods really is important as well.
This episode is brought to you by Rainbow Chefs Academy. Rainbow Chefs Academy provides turnkey nutrition and wellness training for schools, home-based, and after-school programs. For more information, please check the link in the show notes or visit rainbowchefsacademy.com. And now, back to the show.
So what you just described to me is food education. You think that educating the children on foods is very important, as do I. I think that's one of the things that we really are missing. And I think about I think about back to the times. Do you remember where we had a class where they would learn to cook? What was it called? 𝐲𝐸𝐸, or what was that called?
Home economics.
Home economics and all that kind of stuff, where they were actually doing something, in that arena. So I think that I very much agree with you. I think food education is extremely important, just like math and English. And my wish is that every child would be educated on food, on nutrition, on wellness from the early age, because that's where we are helping to instill their habits. So, and having variety of foods, available. So it's almost like a circle. We have the school, we have the parents, we have the cafeteria where the children are getting the food. So yes, I think that education is probably the only way that we can really get to the root of the problem. How do you feel about children making their own, recipes and actually cooking in school? Is that something that you think would be successful? Do you think that that's a possibility to for the kids to be able to, do a recipe, touch the food, experience different foods that are healthy and understanding? Is that something that the school, do you think, would be open to, or is that?
Yeah, it's just like anything else, right? You have coding and all these other things
Yes.
that children are learning how to do.
Yes.
And why not have culinary arts in the schools starting at the elementary levels, right? I think that is intriguing. Some of our children are more tactile learners.
Yes.
And having an opportunity to feel food and learn how to cook certain dishes. Of course, that is spot on with engaging our children in the foods that they eat, right? And then it's nothing like making something and then being able to eat what you've made and sharing that with others.
I know, they are so inspired. They love doing stuff like that, in the kitchen. I think that, and I know that not all schools have kitchens available, but I believe that there is a way to do this in the classroom, just like, a science lab even. I think that it's completely doable, and I think education is key. What do you think about food insecurity? How do we serve the kids that only eat while they're in school. How do we as a community, as a team, how do we kind of tackle that issue? Because as I talk to a lot of principals and superintendents and educators, I have noticed that a lot of people are talking about that as well, that they have kids that experience that. I have been thinking about that subject myself. I just wanted to see what your input would be on that.
That is definitely a fact. I mean, I remember growing up in LA. My mom was a single mom. She had 9 children. I was second to the youngest. I know that there were days when the meals that I did eat was only the meals I had at school. And those others were very limited. We were very poor. And, I didn't realize how poor we were until I, got older and, had opportunities to go to other people's houses and see how they were living and, what were in their cabinets, what was in their refrigerators, to know that, this is not normal to live like this. But, we didn't have an option. And so when you think about that today, it's really imperative that, as much as possible that, I know one of the things that we try to do is during the holidays, we collect different food items for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, and we send that home with families so that they have multiple meals that they can have with the items that we send. One of the things I know we were doing in the district at one point in time was providing curbside pickup of food. And any family that came up and with their car or walked up, they could take food home, and it always had fruits, vegetables, canned goods, breads, and things of that nature. So we have to do more of that, right? And ensure that children have opportunities to eat on the weekends, right?
Yes.
Because
yes.
those are the days that are most significant,
Yes.
that they may not be getting a full meal.
Yes. Well, I think that also, I'm always thinking how to solve all these problems in a bigger way. And I know that every school district, they do try. I think that it would be great to bring in partners, food partners. There's a lot of food waste.
Right.
If we could just, I'm always thinking, how do we bridge the food waste with the people that really need the food? And, have that where the parents, when they pick up their kids, if there is food insecurity, they can have that. I'm always thinking about who are the partners, how can we bridge that gap? But that has been in my mind, and I just wanted to get that thought from you. But
yeah, and I know that there are some restaurants that the foods that they have at the end of the day, they are connecting with different agencies so that they can provide food to like the homeless shelters and things of that nature. But even on a broader scale, like you were saying, like how can we get those foods that are not being eaten to the families, right? At the end of the day, they have a place they can come to pick up food that
yes,
that otherwise would be going in the trash,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
I
Yes,
mean,
and
that would
yes,
be great to do something like that and to partner within the community, these agencies that we could say at the end of the day, these are the foods that are going to be available, and packaging them so that it's just a drop and pick up, where it's not anything that's cumbersome for anyone.
yes. Well, Dr. Walker, that's why I kind of one of the reasons behind this podcast is to see if we can create, a network and partnerships. How can we help each other? How can we create a community that's actually working together instead of everybody is working in their own kind of a corner? So that,
Right.
I think that that's very important. I also think it would be wonderful for local farms to partner with schools, for school delivery, for food delivery. I think that, having children even go and look how the food grows, creating gardens in the school
Right.
is very, very effective way to,
Yes.
to connect all of that. So I hope that we will get there. I hope that together we will, people will look at this podcast and they were going to call and, offer your school districts things that can really assist with the problem that all of us are having, because we're all parents, we're, educators, we people that do a big job every day. And I think that creating a community and a team that is broad in fighting to offset diabetes and obesity in a larger capacity than it is being done today. So it is something that will actually work is super important. So I guess before we go, I do have one last question for you. And that is, what is your favorite food? We are food eds, so I might as well ask you, what is your favorite food, Dr. Walker?
For a long time, I loved fresh vegetables, salads, not with a whole lot of dressing, maybe a little bit of lime juice and a little bit of salt and pepper, and just crisp, fresh vegetables. And,
all right.
If I could have, and I do basically have that every day, at least twice a day, as part of my meal. But yeah, I love veggies a great deal.
Okay, well that's super. So I wore the right color for you.
You did. And I'm getting hungry thinking about the romaine lettuce and.
Yes. Does your school currently have a garden?
Well, it's interesting because one of my academies is 𝗄𝗶𝘁𝗵 Academy. We are moving towards a agricultural school, and they are working to schedule a garden. We have some animals as well. We have a horse, a couple of pigs, and
wow.
And so here in the Antelope Valley, there is opportunity for that. So we have put together a plan to have an agricultural school that will feed into our high school here in the Antelope Valley.
I think, you know what, that's fantastic. I think that could be such a pilot project for really every school. I mean, my personal belief is that I think that growing the food is half of the battle, And most of the schools have plenty of space to have a school garden, just to see. So that teaches your kids so many things, seasonal eating, what grows at what season, the colors, of the foods. I think that's a fantastic thing. I would love, if anybody is out there listening that want to help the schools put in gardens, I think that's a great thing. We'll definitely say yes to that, right, Dr. Walker?
We're like all in.
All in.
100% on that.
Absolutely.
So anyone willing to help support this, we're open arms and ready to move the vision forward so that we can grow our own foods.
Yes, that's fantastic.
Right?
Yes, ma'am. Well, I wanna thank you. So far, this has been the most wonderful podcast for me. I am so delighted to see you, and I will be in touch with you. I am going to be sending you a backpack and an apron, just to say thank you for your time.
Oh, lovely.
And I'll be in touch with you. I want to thank you so much. You've given us a lot of very good information. And I think that the fact that your district is working on so many different things, from the food from all different sides, that you are doing it, a little bit in the morning, and then I think that's definitely the step in the right direction. And I know that together, I think we can really, one step at a time, do better for our next generation. And
definitely.
I thank you. I'll be in touch, and have a wonderful lunch full of green veggies, because lunch is coming up. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform and on YouTube. Let's work together to create a school environment where every student can thrive while becoming food educated together. We will see you next week on Food Ed.